As many of you know already, I'm here in the Midwest. I'm in Chicago, and we get cold. Not only do we get cold, but we get snow. So in this video, I'm going to share with you some tips that, yeah, this is a reality for us. We wear gloves. And how does that impact your watch? How can you still navigate, answer phone calls? How can you actually use the watch to swipe left and right while using gloves? Not only that, but we're going to talk about if you use your watch for swimming. What are some of the things that you should consider? I'm going to also give you some power saving tips, things that I use in order to extend the battery life on my phone and my watch in this case. And then also we're going to talk about other things that you should be aware of that you may not have discovered while using your Galaxy Watch. I also want to hear from you. So if you have tips, things that you use and swear by when using your Galaxy Wear watch, let us know in the comment area below because, hey, it's all about sharing. So let's get right to it.
Make sure you hit the subscribe button and tap the little bell icon to get notified when new videos become available.
So I want to start this video just talking about accessories, and we'll go into actual tips that have to do with the software itself. You're going to see throughout every video, anytime I'm wearing my watch, you may be asking yourself, hey, what kind of band does he have, or what band is that? So I have 3 band videos on the channel, and I encourage you to check them out because that's one of the most powerful aspects of the watch. In addition to watch faces, is how you can personalize and transform the look of the watch. If you watch all my videos, you're going to see the watch have different looks because, once again, I'm using different bands. The bands for the Gear S3 work on the 46mm, the Classic and the Frontier, and then the ones that I reviewed for the Sport work for this as well. Now, make sure that you check out that video. I'll put the link and I'll put a little card up here so that you can check that one out. Now, the first tip I wanted to share with you is if you wanted to go from something like this to something more formal, and I'm going to show you a couple watch faces here. Maybe you'd like to get something as intricate as this watch face right here. And you notice how cool this watch face is. Or even something like this one. I'm going to show you another one right now. That really changes the way your watch looks. And again, this can be pushed to your watch really easily. What you need to do is invest in a watchmaker program. So this program that you see right here is a program called Watchmaker. And let me launch it again. So the Watchmaker app is available on the Google Marketplace as well as in the Galaxy Marketplace, and you need 2 pieces. One you want to do is you want to download the Watchmaker app, and this is going to give you access to thousands and thousands of watch faces where you're going to be able to dress up your watch and go from casual to sophisticated to business-like to sport. And simply by installing this as well as installing the companion app on your watch, you can swap watch faces really quick. So we talked about bands and we've also talked about watch faces. Let's talk about now the watch. So let's talk about the settings screen, and we're going to talk about watch faces. So you saw the watch faces that we showed right there, but this is the one thing I would recommend you turn off unless you're really, really adamant about being able to see a watch face at all time. The way I get several days of battery life out of my watch is by disabling the watch always on feature. It's great to have if you want to be able to see a watch all the time, but I have no problem seeing a black face and then just turning the dial or pressing the button to see the time. I've grown up using digital watches as well as high-end watches, and I really don't have a problem, on the digital watches pushing the button, or even on some high-end ones that are digital as well, pushing the button. So that's one thing for you to consider. Now, the other thing that you could do is you can also set an hourly chime. And the hourly chime is going to basically go off every hour. And this is great for you, especially if you're tracking time, if you do consulting, or you're just trying to manage your time and want to, know at the top of the hour, you want to hear the notification go off. So, again, disable your watch face always on, and then the hourly chime indicator is a good feature, especially if you're looking to just know at the top of the hour, like a grandfather clock, when you hit the top of the hour. Now, the next feature I wanted to share with you that I use a lot is under sounds and vibration. This is under the setting menu again. So you typically keep my watch on vibration mode. I use it this way because I want it to be discreet. I don't want my phone to inform people that I'm getting a phone call, especially as I'm doing business. So having the vibration mode is a great feature. Now, the other thing that you can do is you can actually change the volume, or you can change the vibration intensity. So I've been getting questions from folks asking, well, is it stronger or is it lighter than the previous versions? And I find that they're pretty much the same. But if you have experienced where you don't think that it's strong enough, make sure you go from light to strong so that you can make the intensity much stronger. Now, the other thing that you could do is you can actually have long vibrations. So what this is going to do is it's going to extend the duration of the vibration. So if you're one of those people, let's say you have your watch underneath a jacket, let's say you're skiing or it's winter, and it may be difficult for you to detect that there was a vibration, you could turn on this feature right here, which is going to extend the vibration a little bit longer so that you can get notified when a call comes in. Now, another feature that I use a lot, and this is something that if you're going to use the watch to track your sleep, this is a must feature. So again, if you're going to use this for sleeping, this is a must feature. And this is the do not disturb function. We're going to go into it. And the do not disturb function is basically going to allow the phone to stop receiving notifications. So remember, you want your wrist to vibrate when you get an incoming call or notification. But at 11 o'clock at night, 12 o'clock at night, 3 o'clock in the morning, you don't, especially if you're using it. So what I do is I go into Do Not Disturb, and then I basically turn on a schedule. So I'm going to show you, get out of this for a second, go here to where it says Set Schedule. And then what you could do in this area is actually, let's tap on it. Okay, there it goes. What you can do then is set the time that you want the Do Not Disturb to start, and then the end time for it to stop. So I'm saying from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. and then these are the days that I want it to take place, and then I'm done. Now, there are exceptions. You could have this work where if you have your favorites, like I do, I have my favorite contacts. So I have my mom, my dad, I have my kids. In the event that they need to get a hold of me, they can. Some companies I do business with will also be able to get through because I have that Do Not Disturb exception enabled. And that's going to be part of your phone settings. So Do Not Disturb is an incredible feature, must have if you're going to sleep with your watch. Now, the other thing I do is I disable touch sounds so that I can extend my battery, and also I find it annoying. I even disable that on my phone. So disable touch sounds, that will just give you some extra battery life. It's a cool feature to turn off. Now the next area we're going to go into is display. So we're going to go into the display, and then there's a couple things. Brightness obviously controls your battery consumption as well. I normally set mine at 7 because again, I don't have it always on, and then when I'm done I just turn it off really quick. So I have mine at 7 and you can play with that. Auto low brightness, I have that adjust because of the brightness setting I'm at. So basically this is going to adjust based on the light that is around you and adjust accordingly. And then your screen timeout is here also. So my wife, when she first got her rose gold version, she was complaining about how quickly it timed out, so we made that adjustment for her so it wouldn't time out that fast. Now another feature here that I'll just go to is water lock mode. This is critical for those of you who like to swim. So the water lock mode basically allows you to disable the functions of the watch while you're swimming. That way the water, the pressure of the water, does not simulate touching of the screen. The buttons, etc., depending on how, if you dive. And, there's a lot of things that as you're hitting the water, the impact of the water could impact the watch, not in a negative way, but could just press things for you. So turning on water lock mode is going to kind of lock the functions until you actually disable it so that nothing gets enabled or disabled as you're swimming. Now the next section we're going to go into is advanced, and there's a couple features here that I also use. You'll find that in some cases some of the features are even repeated. Double press home key, so you can actually create a macro here. And right now it's going to Bixby, which most of you may not be a fan of, so we'll get out of that. But if you go into this home, you can actually change what that will do. So if you press this twice, you can say I want it to launch the calculator, the calendar, and I'm just going to scroll through these things so you can see all the features here. So this is a great way to create like a mapping of a macro, so that if you just want to get into something really quick, so if you want to go into the phone real quick, all you do is you choose that, and the next time you double press this button, it's going to go into it. Spotify, your stopwatch. So it's going through and looking at all these features, and you can just choose whatever you want from here to be your map to that home button. So that's going to give you some more flexibility, especially if you're not a fan of using Bixby. Now another thing that I disable to get the best battery life is I go into my connections. I leave Bluetooth on because I want the connectivity to my phone, but I actually turn off Wi-Fi, and I don't have it where it auto-ons either. It's just off. There's no reason for me to have this, especially since, while some of you may be using your watch to stream music, I will stream music if I'm going on a run and I want the watch to be able to pick up that cellular connection and download it, but I really have no reason to have my phone streaming from my home Wi-Fi. So I normally have this function off. NFC, I leave it on. Alerts, I leave it on. And then here you have a function that's called Bluetooth airplane mode, which is something that I turn on when I go into Bluetooth or actually airplane mode on my phone on a trip, I'll turn this on. But there's a toggle for that. And then you can turn on your location, especially if you're going to use it for running. I have it off, and I only enable it when I'm going to use the location. And then pretty much those are the features that I would use. This one eats up battery, especially if you're not using the function. So I would recommend when you're going to use it within the app that invokes it, you can say turn on location, and it will turn on for the duration of the use of the app. So I leave it off. Now another feature that I use quite often for, especially with the gloves, right? So we were showing kind of the glove example, is in the apps area. So you can change the order of your apps, but then I have this function that's called auto open. So I'm going to leave that on. I'm going to show you how this works. So as I go into my apps, right? Let's go ahead and swipe over to that. So I'm here, and I'm going to choose apps. What will happen is as I'm rotating and I pause on a specific app, right now, now that I have that feature on, watch what's going to happen. Notice how that dot is blinking and it went into it automatically. So that function basically allows you to go into it. So that really reduces the need for you to touch the screen, especially if it's in the winter. Simply by rotating the bezel, it will basically select the app. It'll give you a pause, and then it will start it up. So that's that auto open feature. I definitely turn that on. Now there's not much going on in security, but once you enable Samsung Pay by pressing this button, you're going to have to put in a PIN. Here's your account information. There are some accessibility functions depending on if you have a vision accessibility challenge or hearing challenge. You do have other options that you can go in here. So you can enable the voice assistant. You can have voice assistant help so that it will speak as it's highlighting. I haven't found that Samsung has done a really good job when it comes to this. I think that definitely I find that Apple and Apple products are better from an accessibility perspective, but they are here, and there are things that you can play with to see if it is something that will work for you. Now, touch sensitivity is something that I do use. Now, touch sensitivity is great, especially if you put a screen protector on your watch or you're dealing with the gloves, right? So here I have my gloves. I don't buy special gloves that have the special tips. What I do is I turn on touch sensitivity, and then when I touch it, it's basically going to allow it to be more tactile, so it will be more responsive. So touch sensitivity is what allows you to work with gloves. All right, so now let's go into another area. We're going to go into the battery area. I actually use this more than I ever thought. So the default power mode, as you can see here, is going to give me 2 days. 2 days of battery life, 12 hours. Well, I have gone on business trips, and sometimes I'm on a business trip for 3 to 4 days, maybe even 5 days, and I've left my charger. What I end up doing is going into the power savings mode. And by going into the power saving mode, it takes my watch and it puts it into a grayscale mode, and then still this gives me the ability to tell time. But all of a sudden now I have 6 days worth of battery life. So you notice here that it says power saving on, and it gives me this basic look. So you could go ahead and try that. This is something that I do as often as I forget my charging station for my Galaxy Watch. So check out the power saving options, because it could be something that you may want to use. I sometimes also turn it on, especially I found that my, not this one, but my S3 here, this watch right here, is actually the cellular version, and when I've been on a plane and I've put my phone on Wi-Fi mode, I forgot to do that with my watch, and it just drains the battery because it's trying to get a connection. So going into that settings area allows me to go ahead and put the watch in power save mode, so it will last the rest of the day, if not the rest of the trip. So again, you have some other options there when you go into it. Let's go in. You also then have watch only. So this is none of the technology like a heart rate sensor, the gyroscopes, all the things that it has are disabled. Notice that if you're only using it as a watch, you get a whopping 35 days. Isn't that crazy? So if you want it only to work as a watch, then you could do that. So let's turn it into watch mode. So watch mode, notice the watch will only show all time. All functions are turned off. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and it's turning off all the other functions. It's rebooting the watch, and it's going to start it up in watch only mode, but you'll get 35 days of battery life. And again, this is going to give you the ability, especially if you were to again forget your charger, to be able to again work with your watch for that extended period of time. Now to get out of that 35-day watch only mode, all you have to do is reboot your watch by pressing and holding the power button, and it'll restart and you're done. Now let's talk about the toggles, because Android has toggles and so does this watch. So you notice that you have all these controls. You may not have noticed this one on yours. This is the good night mode or night mode. Basically what you can do with this by pressing it, it disables the screen so that it doesn't wake up at night accidentally. So if you're rolling in your bed or you tend to hug your pillow, you like put your arms underneath your pillow like that, this will disable it from turning on. And to get it on the screen and to modify this, all you do is you press and hold on any of these. So I'm going to come back to it, press and hold, and then you'll notice that I'm now in edit mode, right? So I can remove this one if I want. And then if I hit the plus sign, here are all the ones that are available. So I can go into battery management, find my phone, good night mode, which is what I have, your location, NFC, play, stop music, sound mode, theater mode, touch sensitivity, which you saw, water lock mode, which is what we said for the swimmers. And if you're a swimmer, maybe you want to do is put that up on your widgets up there, on your toggles, and then your Wi-Fi. So what I use more is this nighttime good night mode. I want to do that, and then it comes up higher on the screen. But again, you can modify and remove any of these if you want. So guys, those were all of the things that I do and the settings that I configure. If you have anything that you'd like to share, share it on the bottom. Once again, I apologize for the voice. I've had a bad cold and I wanted to keep these videos going, so I'm a little hoarse, and again, I apologize for that. But make sure you continue to subscribe. We have accessories, we have tips coming out for the Note 9 as well as the Tab S4 and all the things that we received. And as always, thanks for watching. Make sure you smash the subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one.